Hello. Hello. Welcome. Welcome. It's book club again. First book club of the year. Book disco, if you will. I'm so excited. I finished the book in the wee hours last night. And what a book to read at like 2 a.m, you know? We are here with Miss Sarah, Sarah's Shelves. Would you like to tell the people who you are?
I'm Sarah from Sarah's Show.
I don't know why I do that. I don't
You
why
just
I'm
told
like.
people.
What about a fun fact? Like it's the first day of college. Do you have a fun fact for the folks at home?
Oh gosh. Fun fact. I played the trombone in middle school.
That is a fun fact. You did not disappoint.
Thanks. It was the first thing that came to mind, and I just outed myself as like a nerd that was in band, but it's fine.
Oh, I'm also a nerd that was in band. My boyfriend was literally in professional marching band as a grown adult. Like NFL level of pro marching band. That's the kind of nerd house that we are. So, you know. Yeah, I played French horn in middle school. That's my fun fact for you.
Nice. Yeah, I originally I tried out with the flute first, and I could barely get any type of noise out of it. And the band director looked at me and was like, I hope you're better at the other instruments. And I was like, oh, okay. I already see how this is going to go.
In my brain, my nerd band brain, a couple of blowers. Well, it's funny because in the stereotypes within band world, the tromboners, if you will, are like the most like sexually comfortable of the band, I would say.
I mean, it makes sense. Like you just saying tromboners, it makes total sense.
Yeah, at least in my experience and in my other like band friend experience, it's like, oh, those trombone players. I'm not joking. Like this is a thing. You play the
And
trombone.
now I just read smut. Like
now you read smut.
It's
like it's the trombone band kid to smut reader pipeline is what
exactly.
I'm hearing. Yeah. Wow, off to a fun start. I haven't even poured myself a glass of wine. I still have a half-eaten bowl of ramen. I hopped into backstage with Sarah and was like, sorry, I'm late. I was eating ramen. Let's do this. So that's where we're at. We are here to discuss Patricia. Patricia Wants to Cuddle. And I rarely do this, but I tabbed. This is me tabbing. There's like maybe 15 tabs in here.
Yeah, there's not that many in mine either.
It was mostly things that made me laugh. I was like, that's hilarious. We're tabbing you. But that's how you know I had a good time. Is like if I reach for my tabs and my highlighter, it's a good time. I don't think I started until like 20 or 30 pages in and was like, let me go grab those.
I mean, usually I just do that for book club discussions anyway. So then I have something to jump off of. Even if I don't like it, I'm just like, here we go. Here's this part that I want to discuss and this part.
See, kudos to you. I knew that you would be the person for the job. Like when we talked about this, I think you posted about this over the summer, and I was like, how do you feel about not reading that thing that you really want to read? Am I back?
Yes, you're back.
Yes. So yeah, just PSA, anyone watching, my Wi-Fi has been really crazy the last couple days. So this may be an extra layer of drama. But I'm so excited that you stuck it out and read it with me, and now we get to talk about it. What was your star rating? Should we just jump in after it?
Okay, so listen. My rating. Actually, I want you to go first. Can you go first?
Okay. I don't know because I had the time of my fucking life reading this book. Like I rarely am I like reading a book and I'm like, wow, this is actually funny. I'm like giggling to myself with my glass of wine, highlighting the jokes. But it's the ending was like so interesting. I think I'm going with 4 stars. Maybe that'll change later. The first like 75%, I was like, what a 5-star read. And then the ending wasn't like a letdown. It just was like a confusion a little bit.
Mm.
So I think a 4.
My rating, I've been flip-flopping between a 2.5 and a 2.
That's so funny. Okay, I can't wait to unpack because last night I was like sprinting, like reading sprinting with Jan, and I was reading thinking like, dang, I have no idea how Sarah's gonna feel. Like Sarah could hate this. I would not be surprised if Sarah hated this. And even Jan was like, I don't know, it's like vibes, you know?
Yeah.
What in general were you not vibing with?
Okay. How do I say this without... So the beginning I felt like was a little lackluster and kind of boring. And I'm like, for a short book, you got to get me hooked real quick. And I just didn't feel hooked until a certain someone came on the scene, you know?
like
So
the
that,
last 30 pages. Got it. Right.
so that was like a letdown. And then I feel like there were way too many characters and like perspectives.
You
You
did.
know what I mean? Like from their perspective, it was too much. Having that many characters would have been fine, but having a actual like POV from like 4 or 5 different people, I was just like, no, I don't like this.
You didn't like. I really liked that. I liked that it was a short book with a bunch of characters. I thought that was like, and they all felt so unique, even though it was written in third person the whole way through. Sorry, Sunday has just decided that now she's gonna eat the food I gave her 12 hours ago. If you hear that.
Now is the perfect time.
Now is the time. She's like, my audience is here, everyone. It's time to chow. Even though it was written in third person the whole time, it felt so clear whose head we were in. I felt like maybe that's why I didn't mind that there was like so many characters, because I always felt like I knew exactly like whose perspective we were in. But there were definitely like so many for a 200-page book.
Yeah. I felt like it was interesting though that when we were in their POV, we weren't actually in their POV. It was like, oh yeah, here's the focus of this chapter, but like,
yeah,
we're not in their head. So it just felt kind of disconnected to me.
Yeah, I had to dig back to my like high school English class because to be like, what is this called? Like I haven't read something that does this, and I think anyone correct me if this is incorrect. I think it's third person limited, from what I learned 15 years ago, but that could be wrong.
You're because it's 15 minutes ago, but you're like 15 years ago.
You know, talking about literary devices and like high school English class.
Yeah.
Okay, let me catch up. I'm really caffeinated for 6 o'clock at night, if you couldn't tell. Just finished the book. I'm glad we're all on the same page. Mm-hmm. When did you read it, Sarah?
I read like half of it last night and then the other half like a few hours ago.
Oh, perfect. Great.
Yeah.
I was like, if she read this 3 weeks ago, I'm going to feel so guilty.
No. It's fresh in my brain. You know, people are like, you're just a procrastinator. You're putting it off to the last second. I'm like, no, I just want it to be fresh. Like, just like you said, it's like, if I read it weeks ago, I would be here like, I don't remember what this book is about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Extra suspense. We all just accidentally did like a 24-hour buddy read together, and I love it.
Yeah.
Jayla also did that with us, brought the wine. Imagine if this was an in-person book club, having a time over copious amounts of wine. This is like a good book club book. There's so many like personalities and silly shenanigans. The idea of like funny horror is brand new to me. First of all, I don't read horror, like full stop. I don't read horror. So this was fun for that reason. It's like, wow, this is new. And also the idea that it was like actively like just hilarious and like satirical was really fun for me also. Like how are these whack things happening and we're still cracking jokes? I mean, okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I'm like, okay, I'm leaning more towards the 2.5. The 0.5 is purely for the entertainment, like the funny parts. Because I did giggle out loud a couple of times. So
Yeah. There are some moments. Wasn't a nerd about it. Not gonna understand. Oh, how to play instruments. Yeah, you just blow air really hard. I switched to percussion after sucking at French horn because I couldn't really figure it out. That's a story for another time. Look at Sarah in the book she reads. And that's exactly tromboners. Yes, also same. Just finished the audio. What a ride. Okay, great. Welcome. Hi. We're all in this together. What a ride.
yes.
Exactly.
And I saw that I looked at the audiobook and there were multiple narrators. So like,
oh, that was probably really fun then. Because we had like all the characters and like the mixed media elements. Probably multiple narrators was the way to go for that. What did you think of the mixed media? Like there was like letters and blog posts and like forum posts.
I liked that a lot, actually. It added an extra bit of oomph to the book. But like at the same time, I'm kind of confused as to what the letters were about. But like, if we're not talking about spoilers yet, then we won't get into that. But I'm so confused by the letters.
Yes, I'm excited to talk about letters. No spoilers like yet. I'll definitely like let you all know. But that was an element too where at first I was like, what's the deal? And then after the end I tried to kind of look up some other reviews or things about that, and I have some like thoughts that I stole from other people's thoughts that I will share with the class. But yeah, it was an interesting element, but not like a super clear element, I thought.
Yeah, but like the forum posts were really interesting because it brought me back to when I was reading, what was the book, One to Watch, because this reminded me of that.
Me too.
Obviously without like the horrific elements, but like the dating show and that type of stuff, you know?
Yeah, all the behind the scenes, and the mixed media like elements to it. The whole time I was thinking this book is like if One to Watch had a baby with the Atmospherians by Isle McElroy, which is like a Cult in the Woods satire that has some like vaguely horror vibes, but also like the really, really fun One to Watch elements too. I just constantly, I was like, it's literally the love child of those two. It's amazing. Saw your stories about it and I downloaded the audiobook knowing nothing and started listening to it. Yes. It says we are all in the procrastination boat together. What a party it is. How did you make that picture of the book you posted? Thank you. I made it on my iPad with my Apple Pencil that my boyfriend got me for my birthday like 4 months ago, and I've just barely scratched the surface of Procreate. I'm like, what if I scribbled on this picture in Procreate? Ooh, that's how I learn things.
Didn't you used to post pictures with an outline of the book? Like your Bookstagram was you doodling on photo. How did you do that then?
So that was like, if you scroll to the beginning of my Bookstagram, there's like a handful of posts where I did that, and that was on this, which is a graphics tablet with this pen. This is how I used to do my thumbnails too. And it was a huge pain in the ass because it's like so not intuitive. So I'd use come back, baby, come back. Okay. I would use it in Photoshop, and it just is like really hard to be precise on like a tab like that, like writing on one thing and like it appearing on another screen. Anyways, now I do my thumbnails also in Procreate, and I've just started experimenting with scribbling on photos again also. So we will see. It was fun.
I love that photo.
Creativity. Cammy's here. Hello. Love you back. Did you read this, Cammy, or are you just cruising through? The ending was meh. I ended on a 4. My problem with the ending, without going into spoilers, is that I just needed like 15 more pages. Like it just was it was not satisfying enough. I get that it was like vague on purpose and wanted to like lead you to your own conclusions, but I could have used a little bit more like explicit conclusion, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I really liked the ending, but like there were there two endings kind of?
Kinda.
So I like the second ending, but like the first ending I was like, "Oh, that's it."
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. I did like the end because we kind of were like a book ended. There was like a prologue and then the book and then there was like an epilogue kind of. And so I liked kind of those two like beginning and endings, but the ending of like the main like timeline, I don't know. I needed like a little bit more.
I agree.
2 or 3 stars. Fair. It definitely is like really weird. I've just learned that I like really weird books. To be pretentious, I guess. It was like, oh, it's like defies the genre. But I have a good time. But it is definitely a book that I don't think I'd recommend to everyone for like that exact reason. And also,
very niche.
It is so niche. It's like I read a review while I was like trying to find what other people have thought about it. And someone was like, this is the perfect book if you watch The Bachelor and The X-Files back to back. And I'm like, oh, that's a perfect way of saying it.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah doesn't like anything I like. Yeah, I feel this. There are some friends where it's like, oh, if you hate a book, I'll probably love it. And like vice versa.
Yeah. I mean, I saw Jayla's Instagram post where she gave it 4 stars, and I was like, now I'm kind of nervous to finish this book.
That's so funny. It's funny that you both know. Like, we just don't have similar taste. Didn't hate it, but I was bored with the show talk. Interesting. Did you like One to Watch when you read that?
Yeah, I think I gave that one 4 stars.
Okay. Are you a Bachelor fan?
I've never watched it.
What? Why was I thinking you were like a diehard?
I've seen one season of Bachelor in Paradise, and you know, everyone's coming in and they're like, oh, I'm from season blah blah blah. I'm from season, and I'm like, I literally don't know any of you, but I'm ready.
It's hard to start with Bachelor in Paradise. I am not really in the fandom anymore, but my mom kind of is. And my mom will send me all of the memes and gossip. So she has someone to send it to. So I'm like by association, without watching the show, in on all the gossip usually. And I loved One to Watch because it was like weirdly nostalgic and fun to be in like the behind the scenes. Like I gave One to Watch 5 stars. So I enjoyed all of like the behind the scenes elements of like the reality show. But I definitely, if that's like not interesting to you, that's gonna be a sucky aspect of the book because there was like a lot.
Yeah, there was a lot.
Yeah. Wasn't hooked, yeah, until the end. Way too many characters, even with the audiobook, it's hard to keep track of them. That's the thing with audiobooks and a large cast if it's not done really well. Did you have a favorite character? I think the POVs we had was like the 4 contestants and the producer and then the mixed media. Is that right?
Yeah. Which I wish I kind of go back and forth about this if I really want this or not, but I kind of feel like I wanted Jeremy's POV.
I thought about that too.
Because I was like, we just really don't know anything about this man. And they're all like fighting over him, even though it seems like nobody actually wants him.
Yeah, like everyone is like, oh, he's a scumbag. Like if I win, I guess I'd marry him. Like, or I would like tastefully break up with him or whatever. There was one who really wanted him, I think, just to be like the winner. And everyone else was like, ugh, like I want to win, but I don't want him. It was so funny.
Like, it'll be good for my, what did they call the Instagram thing? It was like
Glamsta pics.
I was like, I hate this so much.
One of the lines, it might have been like the line that got me to start tabbing. I put the dust jacket on upside down when I finished the book. Just realized that. But it was like I posted a glimmer on Glamsta and I cracked myself up. Oh no, the first thing I tabbed was when the Lila May was talking about a Bible verse tattooed on her foot. That was
Oh
hysterical.
my gosh, I wanted to talk about that. I tabbed that too because I was like, is that like actually in the Bible? Like, what is going on?
We'll look it up. We'll do some Bible study. I don't think I tabbed that line, but it was like one like fashion blogger was talking about like how she posted like a glimmer on Glamsta pics in like the most like dead serious conversation because that was like her job as a blogger, and I lost my shit. It was so funny. It just really like pokes at like how normal like we treat the internet and social media, but by making everything sound so silly, like I felt how silly it was. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like,
and I felt it was only fitting that the social media girl would be named Amanda because I feel like I've met so many Amandas that are just like this Amanda.
Yes, they were such bachelor names. I was almost surprised that we didn't have like 2 Laurens or something. That's like a bachelor meme also. But it was, yeah, Amanda, Vanessa, Renee, and then Lila May is like so Southern Christian pageant girl. I can't.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like the narration. It was third person, but so personalized. Okay, so this is a turnoff for a lot of people. I'm feeling. I noticed it and liked it, but I can see how you'd also notice it and hate it.
Well, maybe you liked it because you hadn't really seen it a lot. So you're like, this is something new and fresh.
Right. Like, what's this? I like it. I really liked all the POVs, and I feel like the audiobook did a great job enhancing that. So I guess you just like, there's like no in between. Like it either makes the book or breaks the book.
Yeah, I guess.
Hello, we're not into spoilers yet. I'll tell you when we get there, but thanks for hanging out. Hello. It reminded me of Hyde and One by One.
I was gonna say Hyde also.
I have not read either of those because I don't read a lot of thrillers. So this was like slightly out of my comfort zone. And I was emboldened by it being reality TV and comedy. And then when we got to the horror elements, I was like, whoa, dipping a toe into something new. So I would love to hear how some of you more horror veterans felt, it stands up to like your normal horror diet.
But like, was it horror? I think it was just gory. Like, I feel like it wasn't necessarily horror, but I can see how it can be terrifying to be in the situation that they were in. You know what I mean?
That's the thing, is like, what's the line? Is it just like between thriller and horror, first of all, and then between like what is horror versus like extreme horror? Is it just scary? Is it just unsettling or gross? I don't know.
Yeah, like with We Spread, it's a horror novel, but it's not really horror in the traditional sense. It's not scary. It's more of like, this is horrifying, not I need to sleep with the lights on type of thing. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, no, yeah, because it did feel kind of light on those elements, and I wasn't sure if that was because the book was also trying to be funny, or palatable, or just like not really heavy-handed on those elements in the first place. I liked it. I felt like it was the right combo for me, just because I'm not often in the genre. I was like, okay, 10% horror, I can do that. But I don't know. Yeah. Interesting to hear the context. Every time my screen goes black for a second, I'm like, let me freeze frame. So I'll be right back. Oh man. I didn't know anything going in, so I was confused with the letters too. Like the forum post.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that knocked it from a 5-star was the letters, because I didn't care and I didn't understand them in the context, and the ending being so flat after all the fun. Yeah, the letters also, like the forum post we got like right away. And I don't feel like the letters really came in until like probably like maybe halfway through, where all of a sudden I'm like, what? Who is writing? What is this letter?
Yeah.
Even just like one or before like the 50-page mark, I felt like would have made it less jarring later on.
Yeah.
So funny is the message that lesbians are good with monkeys. we will unpack this, but there was definitely like something going on with the ladies and the wilderness.
Mm-hmm.
I have Apple Pencil and need to use it more with Procreate. I love it from the few things that I've gone into so far. I like weird books. I just didn't know what was going on. Fair.
I like weird books too, so I'm like, why didn't I love this? But we'll dive into that.
Yes. Wait, we both like This Thing Between Us. That's the only exception.
We both did love that. Great book. Weird book. Great book.
All I knew going in is lesbians, Bigfoot type thing, question mark.
Yeah. That's all I knew too, really.
Checks all the boxes. Are you talking about One to Watch by Kate London? Yes. And I think my favorite character was Renee and the old lady, Maggie, I think. Yes. Yeah, well, who is your favorite contestant of the four?
None of them. I don't know. Like, I feel like the one that made me laugh the most was the southern one. LM.
Me too. Like, I was cracking up.
So probably her.
Yeah, I don't know. Her chapters were just written so well. I was constantly like laughing from her. But I also liked Renee a lot. I thought she was written. I really was sleeping on Renee until halfway through, where I realized kind of what was going on.
Yeah.
I hated them calling her LM. It was just so Bachelor though, and it was like because she didn't like it that they kept calling her LM. But yeah, it was obnoxious. What was the verse I could tell you without Google? I have it tabbed, still upside down.
I think I have it tabbed too.
She referenced a lot of verses, but the one that she specifically was like, I have tattooed on my foot is the tattoo is 1C924, which I'm assuming is 1 Corinthians 9:24. I think that's what made me laugh, is that it's like a license plate, but a Bible
Literally.
verse.
People would look at that and be like, what is that? Is that your password to something and you just need to remember it?
Former pastor's kids. I'm sure. Yes. This was an iconic quote. I literally, when I was sprinting with Jan, I like unmuted to tell Jan that quote, and she was like, whoa. I laughed so hard. Oh my God. So good. I liked Amanda too. She was fun. She like had some layers. We didn't really get a lot from her though. I felt like of the 4 contestants, we got Amanda the least.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm not a horror person, but it was creepy. The feeling was like unsettling, like the whole time. It's labeled horror.
I mean, it makes sense because, the whole time when they go there and they're like, okay, well, everything is sort of isolated. They go to this bread and breakfast type place, and everyone's just kind of weird, and they're like, this place is cheap, but why is it cheap? And nobody likes each other, so something's gonna happen. and then it's like ominous. I mean, this isn't a spoiler, but like it's ominous because the picture that's taken, you know?
Yeah.
So I get it.
Yeah. And there's like a prank that happens like on the ferry boat on the way to the island that is like it's like really scary, and then you realize, oh, like okay. But it just has this constant feel of like it's kind of restless the whole time.
Like something's going on.
Something's up. With my Scooby-Doo glasses on. There's a mystery afoot. Right from the beginning, I was grossed out. Yeah, we just started strong with some imagery, and then backed off for like another 80 pages. But
well, there was the other thing at the very beginning with the arm.
Oh, yeah, forgot about that.
Yeah, like at the very, very beginning.
Yeah, that's crazy. Huh. Glad I'm not the only one confused with the letters. I thought I zoned out and missed something. No, they kind of just appeared.
Yeah.
They just appeared. I don't watch any dating shows, so I'm missing out on some things. Okay, yeah. There was like a lot that I didn't feel like was inside jokes, but probably because I'm used to the genre of TV, where there was like so many things that were specifically spoofing on aspects of reality TV that was funny for that reason. Like there was a line at one point of they make this whole bit about the contestant like running and jumping and hugging the main guy and like wrapping her legs around him, and that is so funny because that's like such a Bachelor specific thing that all the fans hate, but all the contestants do because they all think it looks cute, and it always fucks up their mics. Like I was laughing my ass off that they put that scene in there. That's like such a specific thing.
Yeah, and then the host like calling the girl the wrong name.
The wrong name?
It was like, we can do that in post-production, right? Like we can fix that, right?
Oh my god.
It's like you can't fix it in real life. You just called her the wrong name.
That was classic. Oh, Bible verse. Running the race.
Yes, that's what it was.
Everyone who runs a race, but only one person wins a prize. Wow, Liz. Yes.
I was like, this is not a Bible verse, but apparently it is.
So she quotes it and says, "Do you not know that in a race all the runners run, but only one gets the prize? That prize will be hers." Then the catch can become an increasingly distant piece of her backstory. But the part that made me laugh on that quote was like the whole paragraph is like her on having like the trials she's had to go through, which is every time she's had to play pool volleyball or go bobbing for apples in the same bucket as a dozen other girls, the residue from all their makeup swirling in a disgusting film on the surface of the water. She remembers the Bible verse tattooed on her foot, 1C924. Like, why did that make me like laugh
the
so
bobbing
hard?
for apples killed me. I was like, you're right. If I'm ever caught somewhere and I have a full face of makeup on, I am not dunking my head in some water. Like, I have to be fully fresh faced for me to do that.
Oh my god. Yeah.
This would be so gross to like dunk your head in this water that's just disgusting.
What does it sound like Jesus is saying? Just don't try. Yeah. Jesus is like, hey bro, chill.
Yeah.
Chill. Sit this one out. Man. You see it on a lot of 5K and marathon shirts. On the foot makes sense. Wow. Didn't even put that together. Didn't even put that one together. I have seen The Bachelorette, and the filming scenes were definitely reenacted. Yeah. Yeah. The arm.
Yeah.
The hugging. I hate lying and anything fake, so I can't stand shows like that. Yeah. There were a few moments where like they'd talk about the cameras being on and like having to like turn on the charm or like self-monitor themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So
oh. Sometimes I can't tell if you're just like sitting still or if you froze. So it takes me a second to be like, oh, okay, yeah.
Oh no.
Wait, but do you watch Love Island ever?
I haven't. I also haven't watched Love is Blind. I think I've watched like one episode of Love is Blind.
I love Love is Blind. I love Love Island. I haven't watched the American one, but I've watched the UK one. It's so good.
I've heard it's like so addicting. I have friends that love it and are just obsessed. And I know that will be me, and I don't have time, so I haven't because I know I'll just become obsessed.
For sure, because there's like 50 plus episodes a season.
Oh my gosh.
Because they air it like Monday through Friday, I think. So there's a new episode like every single day. So obviously if you're watching the season once it's done, it's literally like 55 episodes.
That's crazy.
It's wild.
Oh my gosh. I would not find that quote comforting.
Me neither. You could have picked a better one, honestly. So many to choose from.
The descriptive writing was great. I did really like the writing. It felt very intentional. And now I'm going to get Liz to read this by comparing it to Frankenstein, because there are elements of the nature writing and like the description and just like the eeriness, ominous vibes, and the way that there was like layers. There's like stories within the stories, you know, like onions of layers. I don't know. It gave me Frankenstein vibes plus One to Watch plus the Atmospherians, all three of those were 5-star reads. But
interesting. Yeah. It gave me like One to Watch, The Charm Offensive because of the background of a reality show.
Yes.
And then Hide.
Should I read Hide if I'm a baby brand new to horror?
Yeah, it's not like anything spectacular. Everyone hated it. I gave it like 3.5 stars. I didn't hate it as much as everyone else seemed to.
Gotcha.
But it's very comparable, I think, to this.
Huh. I see. That's because the letters to Corinthians was written by Paul, who hated women, and most people on contradicts Jesus 60% of the time. Nice. Fun facts. I love the Jersey Shore. Does that count as a dating show? That counts as like a reality show.
Yeah.
With some dating. Yes. Do it.
I mean,
the vibes were there.
Like, not a huge time commitment.
I know. Sarah didn't love it. I enjoyed. Jayla enjoyed. Skylar did not love it. We're like a 50-50 split, you know? Gave me such Hyde vibes, but not in a bad way. I hated it, but I don't know. Huh. I see. Do we think that we're ready to crack open the spoilers? I feel like we've danced around a lot of things.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, she says. What should we start with? What are you itching to spill?
You should warn Liz to get out.
Oh, yeah. Go away, Liz. Last time I read a short book because of this book club, I was introduced to Spider-Maid. God, that was like almost a year ago. This is when Jayla hosted with me and we read Shallow Waters. That was like the last 200-page book we read. Would not recommend that one though. Hated Hyde. Yes. Okay, Liz. We're diving in. Read it, report back. Skedaddle. The Hooter scene killed me. What did you think of this grand reveal around the fireplace?
Wait, what?
The Hooter scene.
I don't remember a Hooter scene at all. Like, not at all.
Okay, truth or dare, when they're like, I'm going to spill your secrets, and Vanessa tells the one girl, the Christian girl, your secret is you don't want anyone to know that you worked at Hooters. You don't remember this?
I mean, I remember that she worked at Hooters, but I didn't remember how it came about. And then they compared like wearing the orange shorts to something else, and I was like, okay, bringing back Hooters again. But I didn't know when that was spilled.
What? This is like the climax of the book, like the main conflict. Do you remember the campfire scene?
No.
What? Do you remember Truth or Dare?
Yes. And they're like, I dare you to say, like, tell the truth about this. And they're like, oh, but that's literally a truth. And they said dare.
Yes. And then Vanessa was like, I'm taking over. She dares the one girl to kiss one of the other girls. And then the Christian girl is like, I'm uncomfortable. I'm gonna tell secrets. And so then Vanessa is like, your secret is you worked at Hooters and you're a hypocrite. And then Lila May was like, oh yeah, well, like you had an abortion 6 months ago. And then like
No,
cameramen
I
like
remember
dropped
the
their
abortion
cameras.
part.
Okay, so like 2 sentences before that just gone from the brain.
Yeah, like I guess I really just, like Jayla said, I really checked out. I do not remember that at all.
That was like Lila May's big dirty secret that she didn't want anyone to know. And that alone is funny. That was like the big reveal. It reminded me of some dating show or reality TV show where one of them came out as trans, I think, and it was a big deal. I don't know.
No, but there was one part that I tabbed where they were talking about comparing an abortion to something.
Well, there was this moment like later when Lila May and God, what's her name? Vanessa, they're like on that tower and they have this like honest conversation about it. And Vanessa is like, I'm gonna get death threats. Like I didn't want this to follow me, and now it's going to. Like you went too far. You shouldn't have done that. And Lila May is like, you're right. Like I shouldn't have, and I'm sorry. And she's like, I just didn't. I was upset because you told my secret. And Vanessa's like, look, working at Hooters is like really not the same as like what you did. Yeah.
Change your life.
Right. She's like, you're not going to get death threats because you're a Christian who used to work at Hooters. Yeah, I think that was the conversation because there was something. She like referenced like just because you used to wear like orange booty shorts or something. Like yeah. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Okay, where do we start, dude? Female Bigfoot, I guess, is the thing.
The description when she just pops up out of the blue and says hello to Amanda, like it was just so iconic, honestly.
Oh, Renee.
Oh yeah, it's no, Amanda.
No, I know, but Renee finds Amanda.
Well, I'm saying like when Amanda goes back to her little yurt. Oh. And then she like hears something and she's like, what's that? And she thinks it's Jeremy. And then she's like, no, that's not Jeremy. And then she just sees like this huge beast that's like 7 feet tall or whatever. And then has yellow eyes. And then they were talking about her breasts just being like pointy AF. Just like out
like
there.
A Madonna bra was the description. I died.
It was hilarious.
I died. Okay, I also was just confused. You were just saying, yeah, I don't think so. She like figuratively said, "What's up?"
Yeah, she's Amanda. Like, "I'm here." Not actually saying "I'm here," but probably grunts.
Yeah, the hairy boobs.
I love that was like focused on though, like a lot.
Yeah, we get it. It's a girl beast. Yeah. I don't know how else they would have done it other like the cover has like the fake nails on Bigfoot's hand and I'm like that's hilarious. Like I love that. And I would have loved if they just had fake nails on wilderness female Bigfoot. But we couldn't I guess put hairy boobs on the cover. It would have been too far.
Yeah, maybe. Just have like a big censor bar over.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. No, I thought you were talking about when Renee is like having her big epiphany walking through the woods looking for evidence and stumbles upon the cave where Patricia. I'm back.
You're back. You're back.
Goes into the cave where Patricia lives and is like looking around and slowly finally sees Amanda's severed head and is like says out loud, "Hi, Amanda."
That was so weird, and I felt like she was a psychopath from the beginning because that happens, and then later on when Jeremy like gets crushed, and then she's like, "Oh yeah, tending to Patricia." And then Jeremy's like right there, like staring at them with his head that's lifeless. And she just kicks it because she's like, I don't want him looking at me. And I'm like, something's really wrong with Renee.
Yeah. Well, okay. So my theory of Renee is like she like had this like snap because the whole time she's like admitting to just herself, like sometimes I think about women, and then there's this like conversation with Maggie partway through, and then she's coming to the realization like, maybe I'm bisexual, and then Amanda like kisses her as like a dare joke on camera, and Renee is like, this was just stolen from me, like this was meaningful to me and it's broadcast on camera, and like this was like my thing, this like great part of my identity that I've just uncovered, and it's like a joke to everyone, and I don't even own it anymore because there's cameras here. And she just is like, I'm out, and just like completely disassociates and goes full psychopath mode.
Wild.
I have not seen Barbarian.
Yes, I agree.
Yes. Agreed. Was not expecting that.
I love the descriptions though, where they're like, the gore was written really well.
It was the sensory details, to channel my high school English teacher. The writing was like very immersive in an odd way. Like I got such a distinct atmosphere and visual of like everything.
Mm-hmm.
Renee was giving serial killer vibes. Yeah, at the end, major serial killer vibes, where she's like talking about the flashlight. She's like, I'm gonna pick up this flashlight so that Bigfoot can see Jeremy coming at her.
And he's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I kind of loved it.
I love that though, because like
I know, I really did.
He was kind of a douche.
No, yeah, he needed to go, and Renee being like, this is the first interesting thing to happen to me in the last 29 years, so we're just writing it, I guess.
But like, why would he even think that he could run up on Patricia like that and kill her?
Yeah, with like a rock. He like scratches her.
Sharp rock. I'm like, what?
Yeah, big dummy. What did you think was gonna happen? Like literally,
like, I'm a big strong man.
Right. Well, like Renee and Jeremy watch Patricia like rip apart Vanessa's body.
And he's like, I'm gonna run up on her.
With sharp rock. I got it.
I was like, you've lost your mind. I would have been running in the opposite direction.
Yeah, it was a very, very unhinged thing for him to do because men are entitled. Yeah, it was the audacity, I guess.
Truly.
Didn't Renee want to kiss her? Yeah, she had this like crush on Amanda.
Yeah.
That I don't know if she really like fully admitted to herself until the kiss was happening. And then it was happening and Renee was like, oh, I am queer. Yeah. But there was like cameras around, and then everyone was like laughing and high-fiving about like, oh, such a funny dare. And Renee was like, oh, okay. So that's how it is. I think they could do anything without consequences. This was very much Jeremy's entire character.
Well, the whole time, Patricia's killing everyone, right? And I'm like, okay, but Patricia wants to cuddle. Who is Patricia gonna cuddle? When are we gonna get to the cuddling?
Yeah. I low-key, like, reading this book was like, is the title a whole ass spoiler? Like, is the title of this book and cover directly spoiling it? Like, if I had read a manuscript of this with no cover and like a working title, I felt like the Patricia reveal would have been let me in. Oh, okay, I'm back. I felt like the reveal of it being one, like Lady Bigfoot, and two, she's just understood and like wants companionship. I felt like that would have hit better if that hadn't been the literal title of the book. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like if it was this shocking reveal of like I mean, obviously you can have the ominous vibes already set up, but not knowing what is there with them by the cover, you know?
Yeah, which like I like. I don't know. You definitely get Bigfoot vibes like immediately. They're like, we see a creature running around on the island as we're in the boat, and there's like this figure in the back of Amanda's photos. Like it's there. But like the hairy hand Patricia, I don't know. It very much is like, I think, kind of spoiled itself. I don't really know how I overall feel about it. But you're right. There's this like monster running around killing people, and it's like, when is she gonna start cuddling?
I thought she was gonna cuddle Jeremy for a second. I was like, where is the cuddling gonna come in? Because every single person that came into her path, she just actually ripped to shreds.
Why does she? Wait a second, Jayla. This is false. Where did you get this? No, because who is that character's name? Abigail. This is why I needed 10 more pages. Is because there
was no closure on any other like story.
Like we kind of put together, so the scene with Casey and Dex and Mike, the car crash, and then Mike gets his head blown off, and that's where we see all of these people like come out of the wilderness, and we realize it's Maggie, and then they like take Casey, put a bag over her head, and walk her to a lake. But while
gotten away, she really could have.
Casey could have gotten away. Casey really thought that she was final girl material, and Casey was just too up her own butt. But in that scene where they're like marching Casey to her death, there's Maggie is like talking to someone named Abby, which I assume is Abigail. Yeah. And then Abby references like Kate or Kathy, or maybe it was Mary. There was like some other names thrown around like once or twice that was like, okay, so these are the missing hikers that have formed like a lesbian Bigfoot cult.
Well, I had to go back a couple of times to see, because obviously you have the side storyline of the people in, I'm just going to say like a Reddit group. The Reddit group we're talking about like the 3 hikers that went missing. And then you see like the blog post of, is it Finding Kate, right?
It's yeah, I think so.
Finding Kate. And then I was like, okay, but who's Kate? So I had to go back and look at the 3 names that the Redditor listed. And I was just constantly going back because I felt like they were talking about Maggie, and then the letter happened, and it's between Maggie and Kathy. And I was like, who's Kathy? So I went back to the names again, and I was like, there's no Kathy in those 3 names. And those 3 names were never mentioned ever again. Like, they weren't in the group, I don't think.
I think, like, Mary, I think was said, and I think that was supposed to be Marilyn. And I thought there was one of the other names. I don't know, but it said there was like 5 or 6 people that came out of the woods with Maggie when they shot Mike. So I'm like, that's like enough people to be all of them? But True. We didn't really get like the closure. Kathy was Maggie's wife that died from cancer.
But like, why were there letters in there? It just felt really random, and they're from like the 70s.
It was like Kathy and Maggie's like love story before we learned that they like ran away together. They like left Arkansas, ran away together, ended up in, what is it, Otter Island? Otters Island. So it was like the backstory of like their like lesbian romance story and like why they left, how they like ended up there. And there's like the very end letter that Maggie finally writes. It is like where she kind of explains like what like Jayla's comment. Why does she want to cuddle? Why are the lesbians so protective? Maggie explains at the end like they call her with like capital H like she's God.
Yeah.
Like she means so much to us and we're so protective of her because they see her as like, oh, people don't understand her. Let me back. Okay, there I'm back. But like people don't understand her. People call her a monster. People say she's like unnatural, and she's like, as lesbians, people have called us those names too. So they feel this like kinship and like protectiveness over her, I guess, and that she's like old. They're like, oh, this is her home. Like we'll protect her in her home. But it wasn't like fully explained. It's like you had to. I only put that together from other people's thoughts because I just needed my hand held like a little bit more. I felt.
You just opened my mind to something. Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Very intellectual.
It's called book club, and it's called me ripping off other people's reviews because I'm too lazy to write my own. Wait, let me back up a second. Why didn't she just swat his ass out of the way? I know, she really is like gigantic. She could have been like, move over.
Yeah.
But then she used him as like a punching bag. It's pretty brutal.
And Renee's just like, yeah. And even Casey seeing freaking Mike die, I felt like she was much more calm. I mean, I guess she was trying to be quiet, but like she was like, oh yeah, I just saw two people die within like a few minutes of each other. Or I know two people have died brutal deaths.
Yeah, that was crazy. I felt like she was for sure in shock.
Yeah.
I don't know how I felt about her character. We'll talk about her. I felt like Jayla said that somewhere. I might have skipped over it.
But she was invested in him because they were sleeping together, right? It was her and Mike, not her and Dex, right?
Her and Mike were sleeping together. Yeah, the camera guy.
And I was like, and he just died in front of you and you're not upset about it. And it kind of sucks that at the end they say, obviously because people are talking about it as if it's like a true crime thing, there's a documentary made about it. And then they're like, oh yeah, he committed suicide. And I was like, that sucks.
Oh yeah. That was like in one of the last like Reddit posts where they're like, there's this leaked crime scene photo of Mike with his head blown off and then drowned Casey like next to him. Like they drowned Casey and then moved her body back to him to like set up this scene of like a suicide homicide combo, which is like so wild. And the rest of them were never found. Bro.
Exactly.
Begging for help in the audiobook. I can just imagine. It was cracking me up the way Patricia was described before. It was clearly a Lady Bigfoot situation. At one point, someone being chased by a sentient fringe coat. There was some like proper funny lines. Oh, here it is. How do you feel about Casey? What did you think? Impressions of Casey?
I don't really know. I just felt like she was, I don't know, she didn't really have that much of a personality, but she's kind of like sleazy in a way, you know?
Yes, I do know. And I am like slightly concerned that I related to Casey at first because her whole thing is like, I now am the ringleader of like the girls that would have bullied me in high school. And she like kind of gets off on that power. She's like, I control them in this environment. Like I am their god while they're here. And I'm like, damn, that would be me if I produced a reality TV show. I'd be like, you bitches, kiss my ass. Like you do what I say now. And then Casey turned out to be just like a horrible person over the course of the book, where I was like, oh, maybe I want to walk that back. Maybe I don't want to self-insert on Casey. But there were some elements to her where I was like, okay, I thought she was written really well. Like she felt like a human being. Very flawed human being.
Yeah. And she's been doing this for a while. She knows how to make some good TV, but you can tell like she doesn't feel great about it, but it's like, okay, I've been doing this. It works. That's that.
That's that. What do we think? I was doing audiobook only. Sometimes it happens. She goes, wait. I really missed all that. The particular part where it was like 5 girls reminded me of the Netflix movie Gunpowder Milkshake. I haven't even heard of this.
I've never heard of it either. No, but the letters gave me like Joe Goldberg vibes because it was very one-sided. Because we didn't get like them exchanging letters. It was more so her pouring her heart out to this character that we don't get a perspective of. So I was like, are these feelings reciprocated? Like, what's going on? And then I want you to put the letter in your shirt so you like hold me close to your heart was very weird.
But you know that those 2 characters are married. Like in the beginning, Maggie is like, oh, my late wife, Kathy, died a few years ago. That's like in the beginning. And then you later get letters from Kathy. Oh.
Because I'm like, who are these weirdos? I don't know what's happening.
It definitely was weird, ominous vibes that the letters popped up in the middle and were one-sided. I'm with you. Because at first my hypothesis was like, did something go wrong in the chemo lab and Kathy is now Lady Bigfoot? That's why they all care. I thought there was this reveal. Yeah.
I was also thinking maybe it's one of those situations where Patricia is somebody who used to be human, because I mean she has like a lot of human characteristics for lack of a better term, but I don't know, I feel like I've seen some horror movies that do that, of like The Descent, for example. They have these creatures that came from a cave, but they used to be humans. They just got trapped down there for a long time and they adapted to that cold and dark area. So I was like thinking maybe this was going to lean more towards that, of like, oh yeah, Patricia used to be a human, which I feel like would have been cool.
That would have been cool because they said like, oh, she has like grays in her hair, her fur. Like clearly she's been here a while. Like this is her home, but she just is painted out to be this like ancient creature. Like who knows?
Yeah.
I missed all that. It's exactly how I feel. I just needed a little bit more details, a little bit more context, a little bit more wrap up. Spark bring it down to a 3.5. They joined a little ranger group to protect a murderous cuddling primate. Is there any explanation given? Honestly, I got all of that from the last letter from Maggie. And then kind of connected the dots to some other like reviews and stuff. But Maggie is the one that explains like, oh, as queer women, like we've been called names and we care about Patricia. Companionship is a thing with her. Like when Maggie finds Renee like patching up Patricia in the woods, she's like, oh, like she's just misunderstood. And they're like petting her, petting Patricia. It's like it's so odd.
It's weird. And I was thinking, like we were talking about earlier, saying who is she gonna cuddle? How would she know who is a companion, who isn't? Like she just starts killing these people without any type of remorse or any type of like, oh, now they've offended me, I need to defend myself, you know?
Yes. I don't know.
how would they, because they're all humans, so I feel like if Patricia is as good-natured as this ranger crew wants to say she is, then why right off the bat is it violence? I know they said something about like her not having a lot of people around for a while gets her all riled up, and maybe that's why. But if they're always there with her, then what? I'm confused. Why was her instinct to start ripping them to shreds? Because I feel like as animals, you go on the attack once you feel like you need to and like need to defend yourself. But Patricia just goes in for the kill right off the bat. So I felt like that was a little weird.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, I don't. The first time we really see her is like, she's like walking on the street and Mike like almost crashes the car. And then she's like lurking in the forest watching Amanda take pictures. I almost like, I want to say that it's like they like react badly to Patricia, but they don't notice her. Maybe she just feels neglected, but she never like presents herself. Or she does present herself and is met with like, oh my gosh, scary monster, I'm gonna scream. And then that it like triggers Patricia. I don't know, I'd have to go like read some of those scenes again. It's like feeling very chicken and egg in my head.
Yeah.
I agree about the audio. I need a second go with the physical book to fill in some pieces. I could see it was so quick that I was glad that I read it physical, and like highlighted and I guess kind of took some tabs and stuff down.
Yeah.
Why do the lesbians care so much? Why does it matter that they're lesbians? I have two thoughts. One is that it was like a Pacific Northwest known destination for like queer people to go and like camp in the outdoors at this particular island. They're like known for having like queer tourism. And also it's written by a queer woman who is like married to a woman in the Pacific Northwest. So that might have just been her being like, I'm gonna write like a piece of my story. So I don't know. And I think that Bigfoot also could be like some kind of symbol for queerness, especially like women's queerness, intersectionality, all of those other things that we love to talk about in this book club. But I don't know. I'm gonna have to do some more thinking on it for sure. I feel like 2 stars was perceived so negative, but it literally means the book was okay. I'll rate it at 2.5. Yeah, I mean, I feel like people rarely use 1 star because 1 star, like, if the book was okay, that's a 2-star book, you know?
Is that how you look at it? Because for me, if it was okay, I'm like 3 stars.
3 stars is like, it was fine. There was nothing wrong with 3 stars is like, it was fine. I was bored. 2 stars is like, it was okay. I had some problems. 1 star is like, this was garbage.
Yeah. Like this book should have never been written.
Yeah. No, a 2 star is like, in my brain, a 2 star isn't super negative. It's just like, yeah, I would have liked it if some things were different.
Yeah.
This is BS. Angry. The more we talk, the lower my rating goes. Such a reach. Oh, the point of it being like Bigfoot, I guess, or like connection of like lesbians and Bigfoot. Oh, if that was the point. I don't know. It's like, it's weird. I don't know how to feel about it. Like the fact that it's like comedy and horror and vaguely literary and reality TV is like trying to do a lot.
And it's just too short for that. Again, I know like it needed to be a little bit longer.
I needed just a tiny bit more, I think. I want to find interviews with the author because I need more. Yes. Also, this was her fictional debut. She'd written a nonfiction like memoir before. The author of Lambda Literary Award finalist Real Queer America, LGBT Stories from Red States, and a GLAAD award-winning journalist. So I guess it's like what she does is like, this probably was her attempt at like kind of making a metaphor out of queerness in a way. Because that sounds like
funny if she didn't actually mean any of that, and you're just like, you know, when you
it's not me. That's in the last letter.
I know, but that'd be so funny if it's like the author just wrote it with nothing.
Oh,
else.
no connection. She's like, I'm a lesbian and I want to write a Bigfoot story.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like in school when you would analyze the absolute shiz out of a poem that's like 5 lines long, and they're like, what does the wheelbarrow being red mean? And you're just like, did the poet even intend for this to have meaning? Probably not.
It's like the curtains were blue because that's the color that the writer had in their curtains. Like, the curtains being blue does not mean that they're in a state of depression.
Exactly.
Casey was a girl boss, rest in peace. I don't know if I agree with this.
No.
I don't know. Casey was a manipulator, but also I respected it. I'm not gonna lie, but I didn't like her. Definitely a hustler. The characters blend together for me.
No, but I thought it was so funny. I think it was LM going off on how ugly she thinks Vanessa is. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it's like when she sees like she finally is like, wow, I've never noticed how ugly she is, like now that she saw that like her claws really come out.
Oh yeah. And that's why the light of Christ makes everyone beautiful, even the women with big noses or the women who have a little something extra. In the Bible, they call it a person's countenance, which doesn't refer to whether or not you're hot, although that certainly helps on Glamsta pics. It means how you wear your spirit, whether you're visibly burdened by sin or buoyed up by the grace of God's glory.
Like, her chapters were written so well.
Yeah.
That is just such a good paragraph.
It definitely helps on Glamsta pics.
So funny. Like, this book was just like fun to read. Like, for things like that. Like, how did that come out of someone's brain? That is such a fun sentence. Just not fleshed out. I know. I just needed a little more.
I don't think I've ever wanted a book to be longer. I feel like that's never been an issue for me.
Really? It's happened to me a couple times, and it's always these like cute little 200-page books where I'm like, maybe that's the point, is that you're supposed to be left wondering. Like, that's where it's trying to be like literary in that way. It's just like, think about it. Are they in a Bigfoot cult? I'm like, I don't know. Tell me if they're in a Bigfoot cult. Her being the wife would make so much sense. I had an inkling, but then they really doubled down on like Kathy being gone with Maggie's letter at the end. They're like, I'm putting you in the ground with this letter. You're super dead.
Yeah.
I did expect like a last final twist that, oh, maybe it's Bigfoot, or like she is Patricia. I kept waiting to find out which character she started out as. I'm glad we were on the same page. Men are an automatic no. Ellen attacked her. Amanda wouldn't stop screaming and running away.
Well, Ellen defended Vanessa, but like Vanessa didn't do anything. Like, she was just there, and then Patricia just came out of nowhere and then pinned Vanessa down. And then LM ran away. And then you're like, okay, so Vanessa's gonna die now. And then LM comes back to defend Vanessa after she just went off on her being ugly. So she comes back and she is kind of apologetic, and she's like, Vanessa, run. And then we see LM die, but then we don't know what happens to Vanessa. But then later on, when we get back to Renee and Jeremy, then we see like Vanessa's body parts. So we never even got an on-page, like it was off screen. We didn't know that she had died.
This is good. I appreciate this, Jayla, because it's like, this is like who Patricia goes after. Like, no men. LM attacked first, out of defense, but still is like attacked. Amanda, oh yeah, because Amanda like woke up and then tried to escape, and then Patricia decapitated her.
Yeah.
Vanessa was off screen, but I'm sure she was screaming. I don't know. Maybe, yeah. Because who knows? Maybe Patricia was just trying to, because Amanda was always the one that Patricia was like after, it seemed. Like she was lurking in the forest during her photos and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was like going into the yurt, and Amanda reacted like seeing this like beast come into her yurt.
I just love the word yurt.
Yurt. Okay, I loved right before Amanda gets taken, her like Paris Hilton tour. Paris Hilton tour of the yurt to post later to be like, okay, guys, this is what I think. Use my code. And then Bigfoot comes in.
And is like, nope.
Oh my gosh. They really had to drown Casey. I know it was for the suicide setup, but when I didn't know that, I was like, yeah, it was a choice. And also, if you were just going to bring her back to Mike's body, like, why go to the effort of like walking her to drown her and then bringing her back to the scene?
Yeah. Well, I guess it's because they kind of needed to have a story. I mean, these people, obviously, they didn't think this through because this has been publicized. It's a TV show. They're going there. People know that they're going. They should have picked a group where it's like, if they went missing, it would just be like, oh, I don't know. They just up and left one day and never came back. But these people, it was known that they were going there. So when I guess they were going to make the documentary that they were talking about at the very end, they had to come up with some kind of story.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like that. I'm gonna think about that one because I don't know how she would have gotten back there. I still really like the book and had a great time, but I'd rather anything but them be like, people hate us like they hate Bigfoot. I don't know if it's like they hate us like they hate Bigfoot. I think it's like people are ignorant and in denial of and misunderstand alleged Bigfoot, and that these particular people felt really like seen and protected by, I guess, this like entity. But I get what you're saying. It's like, it is a reach.
Yeah.
It is a reach.
But it does make sense.
Yeah. I would love to see like a real author interview too. I'm going to have to do some digging. A little something extra. Okay, damn. Getting called ugly and fat by a book. Yeah. Casey and LM had a couple moments where I was like, okay, Jesus, like we're going there.
Yeah.
How did she defend Vanessa with ropes? I think she just like came in.
She just came back.
Yeah, she just like had like a Christian guilt, I guess, and ran back up the stairs, and was like, "Oh no, I gotta rescue the sinner." The same way Amanda got dragged, Patricia probably would have been taken back to the cave.
What?
What? Oh, Vanessa.
It's so interesting, though, that they didn't, like, the three people who weren't, well, I guess Dex was in front of the camera, but technically the three non-stars of the show weren't actually killed by Patricia. I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. That is very interesting.
And like, what does Patricia eat? Does she eat these people? Or like, I don't think so.
I don't think so. Yeah.
It's just for funsies to rip people apart.
Just for fun. She just misunderstood. It's just her hobby.
Honestly.
How did a tiny girl bring down a 9-foot beast? This was very unclear. It was like Vanessa is about to die, and then LM is getting thrown off the tower. Like something happened.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wait, the yurt scene made me think of Tamlin from Akatar. I need you to explain. What specifically? Like, what reminded you of Tamlin? Was laughing at the idea that LM jumped this beast with no thoughts, no plan. You could have saved her and yourself.
She really was just looking at the tattoo on her foot and just got inspired.
She's like, wait, I'm a foot race my way back to this. Okay, here's a theory. While we're conspiracy theorizing, Patricia could be vegan. I don't know. What do Bigfoots eat? If I Google this, will I be put on a watch list?
What do Bigfoots? Wouldn't it be like, what do big feet eat?
What does Bigfoot?
And then it'll just show you pictures of like actual big feet. No thanks.
Okay, why is the headline "What does Bigfoot eat?" and the first sentence is "Our experts agree"? What experts?
Bigfoot experts, obviously.
What does Bigfoot eat? If it's actually vegan, I'm gonna lose my shit.
I mean, maybe.
Bigfoot food. Thanks. Is this supposed to be a joke? Okay. This is like an actual. I am going to be on a list now. This is one of the biggest hurdles that skeptics face when considering whether the creature is real or not.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
I've been to a Bigfoot museum. I should know.
In this article, we'll look at the potential food sources that might be on the menu. This is a whole persuasive essay.
But like this kind of parallels with the nonfiction book that I'm going to be reading this month, Dead Mountain, because they think that maybe there was a Yeti or something that attacked these people. So I was like, whoa, this is kind of weird that two worlds are colliding right now.
It does say that it says, as good as any other theory, we can start out with the hypothesis that Bigfoot is a type of great ape and therefore may survive on similar foods as other great apes. So shoots and leaves, I guess, which would be fucking vegan.
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean, it makes sense.
Oh my god.
Wow. All the pieces are coming together.
Amazing. Another marginalized group that can identify with Bigfoot. Maybe. We're piecing it together. Just when Patricia was storming in the yurt.
Does Tamlin have a yurt? I'm confused.
I think I see where you're going. Like the tantrum. I thought you were talking about Amanda giving her like a Glamstepix tour of the yurt. I was like, how is this connected to Tamlin? But the stomping around in the yurt having a tantrum, I could see that.
Yeah.
Where is the Bigfoot Museum?
I do not remember, but it was very cool.
It sounds cool. That sounds super cool.
I'll have to look it up later.
I am a Bigfoot expert. I think we all are now after Patricia Wants to Cuddle, which is probably a sweet segue. I know we're kind of just cruising, but It's been almost an hour and a half. Is there anything else that you want to talk about? What about the like epilogue? Did we go into that yet?
Okay, so I have a question for you.
Okay.
Do you think this is supposed to be Amanda, or is it the girl at the very end, Laurel?
Dang.
Because in the ending, like the little epilogue that doesn't actually have the title of an epilogue, they were talking about a hat, like constantly. And I was like, so the whole book, I was thinking this was supposed to be Amanda. And then I'm like, I think this is Laurel on the cover.
You're so right. It could be any of them because this is also like it looks like how Vanessa was described as being like small and like short, like wavy blonde hair, with like a low cut shirt. I don't know. It could be any of them, but you're right because I was thinking that too. I'm like, okay, I just did the same thing and turned it to my upside down book. We have like the limited page time and we're really going off on this hat.
Yeah. So I was just like, oh, is this important?
Like she says, huh, yeah, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, maybe she also joins the cult of Lady Bigfoot.
I don't know. But it definitely is Renee at the end, and they were asking her. I just thought it was a great end because it's pretty much it was played out like a movie. If this was a movie, it's you go back to the scene and the person who was the survivor the first time around is still there and then inviting more people to this place that they know things are going to happen to them. And
Yeah, because she's like,
yeah,
oh, go camping here.
I know a perfect spot. And then it just ends. So it's perfect, like cinematic type.
I did. I loved it. That like last piece because there was even like a sneaky time jump. It was like a 20-year time jump or something. And it was like the cycle continues because it was almost 20 years, 20 or 30 years since the disappearance with the original three hikers.
Yeah.
And then the reality show was like 30 years separate. And then this was like 20 years separate. And she's like, I want to go hiking with my friends. Like, I wonder if that's just every couple decades. Patricia wants to cuddle.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I think it's so stupid that she's like, oh, you're the girl from that documentary, right? And she's like, I get that all the time, but no.
Even though she obviously is, right?
Like, obviously is.
Yeah. I don't know. I liked it. You're right. It was a very cinematic ending. What will the next book be for book club? In January, the book is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. And the live show will most likely be the first Wednesday of February. And then February is Talia Hibbert's new book. What's it called? Also about hikes and conspiracy theories. Highly suspicious, unfairly cute.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
I originally wanted to read that, and then I found out it was YA, and I was like, never mind.
Yeah, YA romance from Talia Hibbert. I don't know.
Yeah,
could be interesting.
A weird time. Wait, if you can spill the tea, who's your host for Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow?
Steph from Stephanie Bookish.
Nice. Yeah, yes. I'm going to be reading that book like next week for a vlog. So
perfect.
I can be there for the discussion.
Perfect. See you in a month. I'm guessing the title's sarcastic AF. Yeah, I could see that too.
Yes.
I could see that too. If it really was just trying to be like tongue in cheek about like murderous Lady Bigfoot, but the title is Patricia Wants to Cuddle.
So you just think this whole time she's just gonna come out and be like, "Hey guys, here I am. Come cuddle with me."
Well, she does let, like, when Maggie and Renee come up to her after they've like bandaged her wound, there's this like oddly tender moment where they're like petting Patricia. It's like a moment of reverence. So maybe Patricia really does want to cuddle and she really is misunderstood. But she's also a murderous drama queen. So I don't know what to think.
She just is comfortable with a few people and then everyone else is out. She's got her clique and then she's
right.
Everyone else, nah, you can't sit with us.
Yeah, she is the cult leader. I was scared Maggie was going to kill Renee. No, I'm like, towards the end, when they were up there and people started dropping, I'm like, Renee is final girl. Like, Renee is the final girl for sure.
I knew it too. As soon as she started showing those psychopath tendencies, I was like, there's no way she's going to die.
Yep. Perfect. Great. I've been meaning to read it since I picked it up over the summer. So I was like, a great way to get me to read it is to make it my book club pick. So it's happening. I'm really excited. I think I'm reading it like next week too. Yes, we'll be back here in a month. You get me. Wow. Hello? Oh God. Hello. That's my sign. Thank you, Sarah, for sitting here into the late hours talking about female Bigfoot with us and book club. This was so fun. Is there anything coming up on any of your platforms that you would like to talk about or let us know about before we go?
I do sprints every Sunday at 12 EST, or I should just say noon EST. And my next video that will be coming out is a big old unhaul.
Ooh.
But that's about it.
Nice. Will you actually read it next week though? No, obviously not. Or in a month, the day before the live. I think we all know it's going to be the day before the live again. My intention is that I'm going to read it sooner because I would really like to start vlogging my book club picks. But I'm usually in like procrastination mode. So maybe not. Thanks for the call out though.
But like that one has made some people cry at the end.
I know.
I'm like, what's sad about it? I need to know.
I know. I'm like, isn't this about friends who make a video game together? I'm going to be probably in for a roller coaster ride. Thank you for joining. I'm glad we all read this in one day together. That warms my heart. Mm-hmm. Thanks for being my first read of the year. Picked it up on impulse after you posted it. Yes. That's what I like to hear. It was my first read of the year too. You did what?
The cover really draws you in. Like you see it and you're like, what is this?
It's such a good cover. It's like straight to the point. Very effective. Love it. All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Follow Sarah. Check out Sprints. All of the links are below. And we will see you in a month. Love you. Bye.